So everyone, not because I think it was so profound, but just it will better inform this discussion. If you get a chance, go to my Twitter and watch what I said on TV about the flagrant foul, which wasn't really anything about the flagrant foul. It was actually just about the basketball, because I always kind of look at the take landscape and I try to see, I'm like, where's their available real estate? And I'm like, oh, there's a weird thing happening with the WNBA, which is it is being discussed more than ever. And yet I haven't heard anyone make the point. The Fever actually have won, after starting 0-5, they've won 5 of their last 10, 3 of their last 4. They're not playing back-to-backs anymore. They are currently in the playoffs if they started today. And, nobody's talking about the actual basketball of it. So I'm like, oh, that's available real estate. So I'll plant my flag there because I think it's interesting. And if people want the actual basketball part of it, maybe they'll think of me and First Things First, that we have interesting things to say on it. So the reason I say everyone should go watch this clip is because I just talked about the basketball of it. About how Angel and Caitlin have been the 2 best rookies by far, that they're holding up their end on the basketball court, that Caitlin is one of 2 players in the league averaging at least 15, 5, and 5. One of 7 players in the league that is in the top 25 in points, rebounds, and assists. And that, that's a flagrant foul in as much as intent doesn't matter if you hit him in the head. So I don't think Angel was targeting Caitlin's head, but I think the way the rule is written, forcible contact to the head, even if it's part of a basketball play, is a flagrant 1. Not a flagrant 2, but a flagrant 1. So I don't think Angel was out of line. I also think it was a flagrant. I also think it's pretty clear that that is a real rivalry, okay? That's good. I have heard for so long, you know what's wrong with the NBA? Everybody's too buddy-buddy. These girls ain't. They had a rivalry in college. It is extended to the pros. It's great. And are there underlying racial dynamics to it? Yes, there are. Even if there isn't for either one of them specifically, they exist. The coverage the Iowa women's team got after losing to the LSU women's team, the coverage the LSU women's team got, where they tried to invite the Iowa women's team to the White House as well, even though they hadn't won the title, the way the LSU women's team was painted compared to the Iowa women's team last year, of course, race played a part in it. You would be insane to act like it didn't. Okay? But you have to be able to acknowledge that, and then also acknowledge that Caitlin Clark is excellent. This idea that she is some white girl media creation, like as if she is some Anna Kournikova of old reference of the WNBA, is belied by the fact that games are played and she puts up numbers and she is now contributing to winning. And then if you wanted to act like Angel Reese is more celebrity than player, and that is belied by the fact that she is averaging the second most points of any rookie in the WNBA, only to Caitlin, and the most rebounds of any rookie in the WNBA. They have both been excellent. So here's why this whole thing has gone off the rails. And this was the point I was going to make to you. And I interrupted myself 3 times. That was a classic me moment. I went on like 6 tangents within my own point. The reason I said watch my clip from yesterday is my clip is just talking basketball. And people, DeMonze, slid into your mother's DMs saying, essentially, I hope what your husband said about Angel Reese yesterday opened your eyes to how all white people really think about us. Like, a real, hey, he's not on the right side on this. And when it comes to this topic, everyone is exposing themselves. And the reason that was even worth mentioning is because I believe the social media bad actors and the media in some ways and some of our politicians have succeeded in making this where you must pick a side along racial lines. If you want to present yourself as someone that is in favor of social justice and equality and causes that many of us have a long-standing history of being on the correct side of, you must then go on TV and say Angel Reese has handled everything perfectly and basically Caitlin Clark is a whiny baby. Even though Caitlin has never complained about any of it. All she's done is say it's basketball, we play hard. I can't speak to the biggest Caitlin Clark fans. I can't. And a lot of them might be out of their minds. But that's not, tell me if you disagree with me, Demonte, that's not Caitlin's fault. The fact that that there are people who are now bad actors in the other direction, who are saying she is being targeted because she's white, or saying that she was left off the Olympic team because there's a anti-Caitlin conspiracy, which is really an anti-white conspiracy. Those people are objectively insane, but that's not on her. I don't think that's on her when she has answered every question the right way. And I personally will not allow these social media charlatans to win, where they have made a clear, obvious goal of making this be a racial dividing line, pick a side. I think that's bullshit, and I think it's toxic. And I am here saying, I think these two young women have either one of them handled it all perfectly if I were handling it for them. No. If I were handling it for Caitlin, I would have taken a more vocal stance earlier about her name being used for divisive purposes. She eventually did. I would have done it a little earlier. And if I were handling things for Angel, I would have talked with her about, hey, we got to decide, do we want to be the villain or do we not? Because there at times it feels like she's straddling. Like after this last game when there was a little bit of, the refs took control of the game. Like, that's not villain behavior. Villain behavior is, I went for a block. Sorry, I hit her in the head. It's basketball. You know what I mean? Like, owning it. So I don't think either one has handled it perfectly, but I wouldn't expect anyone in their early 20s with this level of scrutiny and fame to handle anything perfectly. But I like them both. They were both dope as hell in college. They are en route to being dope as hell in the WNBA. And this whole thing where you've got, and I never both sides things, because typically when it comes to important issues, I happen to think one side is batting about 900 and the other side's batting about 100. So I don't like both sidesing it. On this one, I think there have been some very influential bad actors on both sides. There are obvious ones on the Caitlin side of things. Nikki Haley, that stupid congressperson in Indiana that was trying to pass a law related to Caitlin Clark. Those folks are obvious. And then there are folks that, to me, are more subtle about it, just clearly trying to turn, if you will, sections of Black America against Caitlin Clark. And I find it, it is so disappointing. And so that's my take on this, is more about how it is being